Assalamualaikum. Hi and good day. My name is Tengku Mushrif Akil. Today, our group will present about precipitation. So, our group consists of four presenter. There is Mr. Hadi, Tengku, which is myself, Mr. Shafiq, and Mr. Nawa. Okay, so what is precipitation? Precipitation is any form of moisture which fall to the earth, such as rain, snow, hail, and sleet. Precipitation occur when the air reach a saturation point where the water vapor condense and form a tiny droplet of water. This tiny droplet also is from the cloud itself. Okay, there are type of precipitation, which is the downpour. There is orographic, convectional, and cyclonic of frontal. For orographic, it is a type of precipitation when the air moist is lifted up as it moves over the mountain ridgetop. For convectional, it occurs when the energy of the sun heats up the surface of the earth, causing the water evaporate to form the water vapor. When the land heats up, it warms the air above. As the air rises, it cools and condenses, and this process forms cloud in the atmosphere. The process continues and rainfall will occur. For the third one is cyclonic or frontal. It occurs when the warm air collides with the cold air. The warm air will be lifted by the cold air because of the air pressure is much more different because the cold air much more denser than the warm air, and it will create a rainfall. Okay, now we're gonna go through the type of precipitation and what consequence that will occur of each precipitation. For now, it's snow. Ms. Nava will present for it.
My name is Nabal. I'm going to present about snow precipitation. Next slide. Introduction. Snow is precipitation that fall in the form of ice crystal. Hail is also ice, but hailstones are just collection of frozen water droplets. Snow has a complex structure. The ice crystals are formed individually in cloud, but when they fall, they stick together in cluster of snowflakes. Snowfall happens when many individual snowflakes fall from the cloud. Unlike a hailstorm, snowfall is usually calm. Hailstones are hard, while snowflakes are soft. Snowflakes develop different patterns depending on the temperature and humidity of air. When snow falls in the form of a ball instead of soft flakes, it's called graupel. This happens when snow is melted and the precipitation forms around the snow crystal. Snow requires temperature at the ground to be near or below freezing, less than 0 degrees Celsius. Snow that falls on warmer ground melts on contact. Next. Causes of snow. Water vapor collects with other material, such as dust in cloud. Precipitation condenses or forms around these tiny pieces of material, called cloud condensation nuclei. Cloud eventually get too full of water vapor and precipitation turn into liquid or a solid. Most rain actually begins as snow high in the clouds. As the snowflakes fall through warmer air, they become raindrops. Particles of dust or smoke in the atmosphere are essential for precipitation. This called condensation nuclei provide a surface for water vapor to condense upon. Snow forms when tiny ice crystals in clouds stick together to become snowflakes. If enough crystals stick together, they will become heavy enough to fall to the ground. Consequence of snow precipitation to the environment and society. Road transport. The main effect of snow and ice on road is to reduce adhesion of surface resulting in loss control and collision. On, on hills, loss of traction may result in vehicle being unable to progress uphill. Blockage of the road leads to disruption according to the traffic density. Road operators attempt to maintain adhesion of surface by application of salt and grit, both prior to and during ice and snow formation. However, heavy snow at temperature well below 0 degrees Celsius required a very frequent treatment which can be impossible to deliver to congest road. Rail transport. Trains are also affected by loss of adhesion and this is treated at vulnerable location by application of sand. However, the main impact of snow and ice on rail transport are freezing of the point and loss of electric connection between electric train and power supply from catenaries or especially from the third rail. Next, airport and aircraft. The lift surface, mainly the wings of aircraft, must be ice-free for the safe takeoff. So any aircraft that accumulate ice or snow while on the ground must be de-iced before takeoff. This is a time-consuming procedure which can result in delay. Large, large civil aircraft do not generally accumulate much ice during flight and heater keep the critical areas free. However, other aircraft flying at low levels are vulnerable to icing and must follow defined procedure to maintain safe flight. The biggest delay at airports are usually caused by snow that impacts progress along taxiways and aprons. Compared with runway, this covers a vast area and are difficult to maintain in clear state. Energy supply and telecommunications. Snow and ice accumulate on transmission cable, tree, mast, and pylon, especially when the temperature is close to freezing. The additional weight can lead to sagging of cables and collapse of tree and mast. Collapse of pylons is exceptional in the UK, but has occurred in other countries in this condition. Ice on electricity cables can affect transmission. The most frequent impact are from falling trees that pull down local transmission cable with them. Next, water supply. Low temperature can lead to freezing and bursting of water supply pipe in the ground or in the building, leading to loss of supply, freezing of the escape water on the surrounding roads or other surface, and water damage to the building and their content, including potential impact of electrical short circuits through the water, including electrical fires. Environmental impact. The main effect of snow and ice on the environment are the polluting potential from treatments used to prevent and remove ice from roads, vehicle and building, the polluting potential from accumulation of slurry and milk on farm due to road disruption, disposal of salt, grit and oil content snow into rivers, release of polluting material as a result of freezing pipe and etc. at industrial processes. Health and health services. Health impact of snow and ice may be divided into two categories. Cold temperature coexist with snow and ice and have separate and more significant health effect. The effect of cold are covered in a separate episode. Health. The direct impact are mainly broken bones and laceration resulting from fall on ice covered pavement and roads. Uh, Next, negative impact are injuries resulting from accident incurred from the impact of snow and ice on travel. Health services impact on health impact include increases in hospital admission for acute injury and trauma from slip and falls and other eyes, and snow-related incident and acute presentation of chronic illness due to loss of essential service such as power. That's all. Thank you.
Right, thank you from explanation from Mr. Nava. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings to all viewers. My name is Arizme and I'm going to explain to you about drought. Next. Okay, a drought is a period of time when area or region experience below normal precipitation. The lack of adequate precipitation, either rain or snow, can cause reduced soil moisture or groundwater, diminished stream flow, crop damage, and a general water shortage. Drought are the second most costly weather event after hurricane. Next. Okay, there's four types of drought that we know. First of all is meteorological drought, which is based on the degree of dryness or rainfall deficit and the length of the dry period. Second is hydrological drought. It's the impact of rainfall deficit on the water supply, such as stream flow, reservoir and lake levels, and groundwater table decline. Third, agricultural drought. Impact on agriculture by factors such as rainfall deficit, soil water deficit, reduced groundwater or reservoir levels needed for irrigation. And finally, socio-economic drought. Water shortage affect the life of people such as their health and quality of life. It can also affect the supply of food and material and also affect the economy too. Next. So I'm going to explain you on 5 causes of drought. First is precipitation deficiency. Second, dry season. Third, El Nino. Fourth, erosion and human activities. And fifth is climate change. Next. Okay. Firstly, I'm going to explain to you on precipitation deficiency. So precipitation deficiency is when the mechanism of producing precipitation include all convective, stratiform, and orographic rainfall. So when the current of the atmosphere in that location within an hour and cause heavy precipitation, while stratiform processes involve weaker and less intense precipitation over a longer duration. So precipitation deficiency is when the rainfall rate is low at certain period of time. Okay, next. Next is dry season. Dry season greatly increased drought occurrence and is characterized by its low humidity with watering holes and rivers drying up. Water vapor becomes more energetic with increasing temperature. More water vapor is required to increase relative humidity value to 100% at higher temperature. Dry season is an annual season where the temperature is far more greater than it usually done during annual season. So that when the crop and all other agricultural crop would be waited at those time. Next. Next is El Nino. El Nino is the warm phase of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, acronym of O, and is associated with a band of warm ocean water that develop in the central and east central equatorial Pacific, approximately between the international deadlines and 120 degrees west, including the area of the Pacific coast of South America. So El Nino is a occurrence of natural occurrence that when the ocean of the Southern Pacific Ocean is getting warmer, and then when the warm warm water of the Pacific Ocean will interrupt the flow of the water and the convection of the wind. So it will affect the movement of the cloud. So when the cloud is already doesn't appear on that certain location, the precipitation will be less. Next. Next is erosion and human activities. Human and erosion activities triggers acceptable mitigating factors such as overfarming, excessive irrigation, deforestation, and erosion adversely impact the ability of the land to capture and hold water. For erosion and human activities is when human activities will disrupt the water supply in certain area. For example, like in particular area in probably in China, most of the certain part when they wanted to start a certain project, for example, like building a dam, it might be uh, causing water supply in certain area downstream. Next. Next is climate change. So as we know, climate change is a main topic for this season because climate change is expected to trigger drought with a substantial impact on agriculture throughout the world, and especially in developing nations. Along with drought in some area, flooding and erosion could increase in other. Some propose solution to global warming that focus on more active techniques. Solar radiation management through the use of space and shade for one may also carry with them with increased chance of drought. So the climate change is when a certain part of the world has different climate because the world is getting warmer, and then it will affect substantially and thoroughly with the weather in that particular area. So it will cause a drought in an unusual way. Next. So I'm going to tell you about the consequences of drought. There are there are three type of consequences. Firstly is environmental, second is economic, and third is social. So for in terms of environmental will cause a lower surface and subterranean water level, lower flow level, increased pollution of surface water, drying out of wetland, more and larger fire, higher deflation intensity, loss of biodiversity, worse health of tree, appearance of pests, and dendroid disease. In terms of economics, lower agriculture forests, game and fishing output, higher food production costs, lower energy production level in hydro plant, losses caused by depleted water tourism, transport revenue, problem with water supply for the energy sector and for technological process in metallurgy, mining, chemical, paper, wood, foodstuff, industry, and etc. And then for disruption of water supply for municipal economy. Finally, in terms of social, the consequences of drought that will affect the health of people directly exposed to this phenomenon. So next is possible limitation of water supply, increased pollution level, high food costs, famine, and stress caused by failed harvesting. Next. Okay. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adi, our previous presenter. Okay, now I'm gonna present about rain. Okay, rain is a precipitation of liquid water drop with the size of higher than 0.5 mm diameter. If the droplets are smaller, it's called drizzle. The concentration of raindrop typically range from 100 to 100,000 per cubic meter. Drizzle drops usually are more numerous. Raindrops seldom have diameter larger than 4 millimeters. Because as they increase in size, they will break up. So the concentration generally decrease as diameter increase. Except when the rain is heavy, it does not reduce visibility as much as does drizzle. Um, Meteorologists clarify rain according to its rate of fall. The hourly rate relating to light, moderate, and heavy rains are respectively less than 2.5 mm, 2.8 mm to 7.6 mm, and more than 7.6 mm. Okay, How does rain occurrence? Water drop from the clouds. The heat from the sun turns moisture from plant as well as the ocean, lakes, and river into water vapor, which disappear into the air. This vapor rise, cool, and change into tiny water droplets, which form clouds. So the water droplets in the cloud joins together to form a bigger drops. When the water droplets get too heavy, it fall and become rains. This is the water cycle for the rains, where the water surge been heat up and evaporate and been condensed became clouds, and then the water surge become denser, and it will form a droplet of rains, and the cycle goes through and continues. Okay, now the impact, the consequence that will occur for the rain. As we know, there are few types of rainfall, but heavy rains can lead to potential consequences such as flooding, including risk to human life, damage to properties, and loss of crop and livestock. Landslide, which can threaten human life, disrupting transportation and communication, and cause damage to building and infrastructure. That's all from me. I, I will, next is hailstorm.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tengku. Okay, my name is Muhammad Syafiq bin Hamizul. Okay, today I will present about the storm. Next. Next thing. Okay. Hailstorm. Any hailstorm which a product hail is reach the ground is count as hailstorm. Hailstorm is a form of solid precipitation. Next thing. Type of hailstorm. Okay, hailstorm ni has a no types. Prediction, we can know if a hailstorm happen. We I think there no system that can count sufficiency prediction for hailstorm. For the size of hail, uh, the size is 2 until 2.9 cm. That is the most common size of hail is report. Next thing. Okay, cause of hailstorm. Hailstorm form with an unusually unstable air mass that's in an air mass in which the temperature fall off with the height is much higher than greater normal. The unstable air is necessary to produce large undraft speed fast enough to keep a developing hailstorm from the from falling to the ground. In a hailstorm, small ice particles that form above the freezing level, which occur in a thunderstorm, collect either rain water or cloud water on them, forming a water shield that freezes. The type of draft and downdraft structure of the hailstorm is important in order for hailstorm to grow because they can be recycled several times until they either become too large or for the updraft to basically the hailstorm, the difference between hailstorm and snow is snow happen when the rain falling down and the temperature is freezing, but the hailstorm is when the water in the cloud is freezing in the cloud, so the hailstorm happen. So this distraction of the hailstorm occur most frequently with continental interior at the mean latitude. Hail is also much more common along the mountain range. One of the most notorious region for large hail is the mountain area of North India and Bangladesh, which are eligible as small hail related than anywhere else in the world, and also some of the large storm ever measured. Next. Okay, we look at impact of hailstorm. Injury. Injury associated with a large hailstorm where a report 69 times the several for all the circum of such injured with relation in the report, but the text distribution most typically mention light injured, head injured, or person taken to the hospital. Next. Okay. Analysis losses. There's harm to the person. Hail has a large monetary impact. Statistical Service database lists 669 losses involved hail with a normalized value exceeds 1 million USD between 2004 and 2006. We can see it through the figure. Okay, next. Damage on properties depend on the severity of storm. Your property may have been damaged by hail. If so, you may want to consider contact your insurance provider. After the storm has passed, take a look at your roof, shingles, cylinder, gutter, window, and other items around the home. Take a picture of the damage and call your insurance provider to fill a claim. Picture and video can aid the adjustable assigned to the case and help them to investigate. The next. Damage to plant, tree, and crop. All damage has been found to harmful to tree, plant, crop, and flower bed. Even the small piece of hail combined with storm wind can be damaged to the vegetable, as such as lettuce, cabbage, and Spanish. This can leave farmers who rely on the type of production as on their main source of income to be financial disaster. Storm that product hail and high wind can also strike tree and their leaf and bark. Large pieces of hail also cause damage to branch and take down the tree limbs. Hail effect on the water. After the hail has melted, it has same effect on environment as rain. Water is one of the best natural resources and melt hail soak into the ground and replenish land, lake, rivers, stream, and other water reservoir. It also sustains plant, animal, and human life. However, too much water can cause soil erosion and have a clipping effect on home, tree, and environment, like Tengku said. Next. Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening to our group.